Hey, it's John. This one is from 1969, May of 1969 actually. It's one of the recent acquisitions here at True Vintage Guitar, and it's a Fender Telecaster THINLINE. Awesome guitar. I love playing this one. This one was a year in the making. It did not require a big guitar safari, but still I was super glad to get it, and got it from what I was told, the son of the original owner. But first, let's check out new merch at True Vintage Guitar. I've just had these printed. They're so cool. This is it. It's got the logo on the front pocket. It's got the custom logo printed underneath. How about that? Pretty cool. So it's tagless. It's got the tag inside. And then custom design on the back. So these are now available at truevintageguitar.com. They're $25 each. You might have to pay some tax and shipping. I'd be super honored for you to have one. One of the things that kind of stuck out to me as I was working with a designer on this shirt is the designer actually put purveyors of vintage vibrations. And I thought it was kind of funny at first. I was like, I don't want to try to act like I have this big shop full of employees and that kind of stuff. And he was like, no, that's not what it means. It means that when people wear this shirt, they're part of True Vintage Guitar. And I was like, oh, that makes a ton of sense, and I would love for people to be a part of this thing. So if you're watching videos and, commenting on Instagram and that kind of stuff, then I consider you part of this, and I'd love for you to have a shirt. There's a link in bio below. So pick one of these up. They're cool. Back to this guitar. It's from May of 1969, and it's a Telecaster THINLINE. So you're familiar with the Telecaster, 1950 was the Broadcaster, then the Nocaster, 51, then 52 it was the Telecaster, blah, blah, blah. That's how it goes. In 1968, there was a designer at Fender named Roger Rossmeisel. He was a German designer. He worked at Gibson, Fender, Rickenbacker, had a bunch of really cool ideas and designs. He worked on the Smuggler era Telecaster in 67 or so. If you haven't checked one of those out, it's a standard Telecaster, but it's weight relieved underneath the Telecaster pickguard. So from the outside looking in, it looks totally normal. Like a standard Telecaster, but if you take off the pickguard, there's these cavities underneath, and people called them smuggler tellies because you could smuggle, whatever herbs you liked inside them. But that didn't really stick around because they started working on this guitar, and it was the THINLINE Telecaster. So this is an ash body. It weighs 6 pounds, 3 ounces, and it's actually a two-piece body. So I don't know if you can tell, but there's a seam right here. So this body has the back off. Imagine it with the back off. It's routed out underneath here, and then has the cool Roger Rossmeisel F-hole, Fender style like the Coronado. And then they laminate the back to the body like this. So you end up with a really cool chambered Telecaster. Standard Telecaster pickups for this time period. Tele bridge pickup, tele neck pickup. Standard post 67 wiring, so that's bridge, middle, in phase, and neck, and then single volume, single tone. It's got a cool custom perloid pickguard. So yeah, I just love these guitars. There's two versions of the Telecaster THINLINE. Version 1 is this one. It's 1968 to 1962. That features a 4-bolt neck joint, just like a typical Tele. It does have a mix of polyurethane and nitrocellulose finish. It's mostly polyurethane, but you can tell on the back of the neck there's some kind of cool wear here, and you can kind of see layers of different finish. Likely on the front of the headstock is nitrocellulose over top of polyurethane. So yeah, it's kind of a mix during this time period. And then version 1 has the standard truss rod adjustment at the heel of the neck instead of the bullet adjustment like the 3 bolts. And yeah, so version 2 came out in 1972. I love those guitars as well. They do end up being a little bit heavier. Sometimes the 3-bolt neck joint can be a little bit difficult to deal with. But they're awesome. They have 2 wide-range humbucking pickups designed by Seth Lover. Then they have the 3-bolt neck joint with the micro tilt and the bullet adjustment, truss rod adjustment at the top of the headstock up here. So that's version 2 of the Telecaster Thinline, and those also say Thinline at the top of the headstock, unlike this one, which just says Fender. So anyway, yeah, I actually chased this guitar for about a year, and the sellers were up in Ohio, really sweet, kind of country folks. They did not want to negotiate at all. They said, this is our price. You can either buy the guitar or you don't have to. We're not going to do anything. So you buy it or you don't. I could tell they weren't really guitar players, so I was a little bit nervous about buying from them since it really hadn't been inspected or anything like that. But eventually a year went by and I was just like, you know, I gotta have that guitar, so I'm just gonna buy it anyway. So it comes in and it looks awesome, super clean and nice, a little bit of fret wear. I plug it in and go to the neck pickup and sounds great. Then I switch to the bridge pickup and it's really thin and weak, and I was just like, something's not right here. So then I turned down the tone knob in the bridge position and it went totally quiet. So at that point I could tell that we actually had a dead bridge pickup. And this can happen because it is exposed. There's no cover on the Tele bridge pickup. So a lot of times corrosion can get inside this coil and there can be a break in the coil just from corrosion. But you can still get a little bit of capacitance out of that pickup, so you can actually hear the pickup, but it doesn't sound right. And the sellers were really kind. They understood what I was saying and, you know, kind of helped me out with that. I did send it off to Tom Brantley for a rewind, and I asked him, I actually shipped him the body. I asked him to take the pickup from the leads at the where the leads join the bobbin and not where the leads hit the potentiometers and the switch. And that's just because I love photographing the original electronics and I want to disturb as few solder joints as possible. So, you know, if we were to take it off from the potentiometer and the switch, that's 4 total solder joints because you'd have to do the leads at the bobbin as well. So Tom Brantley did a great job. You really can't tell. It's still got a bunch of patina on the pickup poles, and the twine winding that he did just looks factory. So, and it sounds factory too. I mean, it's an excellent sounding pickup. The guitar itself is 100%, and I love it. So you can check out more pictures of this one at truevintageguitar.com. But you probably also saw this amplifier. This is a DeArmond R15 non-tremolo, so not the R15T. These were produced about 1959 to 1961. They're very similar to like a late Tweed Deluxe, Fender Tweed Deluxe. So they have 2 6v6s, 2 12AX7 preamp tubes, 5Y3 rectifier tube, and it's got that awesome Jensen P12R speaker, and they're just awesome amplifiers. They do differ from the Tweed Deluxe in one main point. That's the output transformer. I'll show you a picture of the output transformer on this R15. It's huge. Yeah, so it's about twice the size as the Fender Deluxe output transformer. And that's one of the weak parts about the Tweed Deluxes. If you've gone out there and you're looking to buy a Tweed Deluxe and you look at the ones available, most of them are going to have a replaced output transformer because that was kind of the weak point, and a lot of times they would just die. So this one is in awesome shape, totally original, even got the leather handle. The copper plating on the faceplate is in super nice shape. So yeah, I highly recommend these. If you see these out in the wild, buy one. There's the R5, R5T, R15, R15T, then the R25, which I'm still working on getting. Maybe one day I will. But I think it sounds killer. It really makes this Tele sound super fat and great saturated tone. Almost forgot my book recommendation. This is by Tony Bacon. It's the Fender Electric Guitar Book, and it has some awesome Fender history, amazing photos of super rare guitars you've never heard of, kind of like the Fender Marauder. Ever checked out one of those? You need to go to the Songbirds exhibit if you want to see a Fender Marauder. But yeah, if you get this book, you can read a lot about Roger Rossmeisel and the things that he did at Fender, like helping with the Coronado, which personal favorite of mine. You know, if you want to buy a cool vintage Fender, but you don't want to spend 10 grand and you want golden era, get a Coronado. They're awesome. They're super cool. Yeah, it's got stuff about the Fender Custom. It's got the Fender Thinline Telecaster. This is a fantastic book. There's a link in bio. It's by Tony Bacon. It's the Fender electric guitar book. You're going to love this one, even if you just look through the pictures. But I recommend that you read through it because it's got some amazing information. There's a lot of great books on Fender, but this is, if you're just going to have one, maybe do this one. So yeah, pick it up. There's a link in the description. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this one. It's the 1969 Fender Telecaster Thinline and the 1960 DeArmond R15 amplifier. Thanks for checking it out. Pick up a shirt. And if you do, leave me a comment. Follow on Instagram. It's at True Vintage Guitar. Do live, guitar safaris and that kind of stuff. Would love to connect with you on Instagram and on YouTube. So drop me a comment here below. Yeah, thanks for watching.